Marcus Thompson had always prided himself on his diplomatic skills, but nothing in his training had prepared him for this moment. Standing in the crystalline medical bay of the Zephyrian flagship, he watched as the alien queen writhed in obvious distress on what appeared to be some sort of bioluminescent operating table. The queen, if that's what she truly was, resembled a cross between a praying mantis and a flower, her iridescent carapace shifting through colors that had no names in any human language. Her 6 delicate arms clutched at the air while her compound eyes darted frantically around the room. "Ambassador Thompson," the nurse beside him said in perfect, if strangely accented English. She was smaller than the queen, more humanoid in appearance, with silvery skin that seemed to ripple like liquid mercury. "Her Majesty is experiencing what you might call labor complications." Marcus blinked. Labor? He'd been called to this first contact scenario as Earth's representative, expecting trade negotiations or territorial discussions. Not this. "I don't understand," he said carefully. "What does this have to do with diplomatic relations between our species?" The nurse, who had introduced herself earlier as Healer Silthan, turned her large opalescent eyes toward him. "The royal offspring require a bonding catalyst to survive the transition from egg form to larval stage. Among our people, this is traditionally provided by the queen's chosen mate." "Okay," Marcus said slowly, still not seeing where this was going. "Unfortunately," Silthan continued, her voice taking on a note of distress that somehow transcended species barriers. "His Majesty the King Consort was killed in a mining accident 3 cycles ago. Without the bonding catalyst, the offspring will not survive, and our royal line will end." The queen let out a sound that was part whistle, part harmonic vibration, and entirely heartbreaking. Marcus felt an unexpected surge of sympathy. "That's terrible," he said genuinely, "but I still don't understand what you need from me." Silthan's expression, if the subtle shifts in her facial patterns could be called expressions, grew hopeful. "Your species intrigues us, Ambassador. In our research of human culture, we discovered something remarkable. Humans possess an unusual capacity for emotional bonding across species lines. You form attachments to creatures that are not even sentient, what you call pets. This suggests a neurological flexibility that might substitute for our traditional bonding process." Marcus felt his stomach drop. "You want me to bond with your queen?" "Nothing physical," Silthan said quickly, her skin flashing a rapid sequence of colors that somehow conveyed reassurance. "The bonding is purely psychological, a demonstration of care, of protective instinct. Among our people, the male traditionally speaks words of comfort and protection during the birthing process." The queen made another sound, weaker this time. Through the transparent walls of the medical bay, Marcus could see other Zephyrians watching anxiously. Guards, attendants, what might have been government officials. The weight of an entire species' hope seemed to press down on him. "What would I need to say?" he asked. Silthan's relief was palpable. "Simply speak to her as you would a beloved mate, words of encouragement, of protection, of care. The emotional resonance is what matters, not the specific content." Marcus approached the queen's bedside hesitantly. Up close she was even more alien, and somehow more vulnerable. Her breathing was rapid and shallow, and he could see dozens of egg-like protrusions moving beneath her translucent abdominal plates. He began awkwardly. "You're doing great. Everything's going to be fine." The queen's eyes fixed on him, and he felt an unexpected connection. Not romantic, but something deeper. The universal recognition of a being in pain who needed comfort. "The contractions are intensifying," Silthan reported from her monitoring station. "Please, continue." Marcus took a deep breath and let his natural instincts take over. He'd talked his younger sister through a panic attack once using the same tone he found himself adopting now. "Hey, it's okay," he said softly. "I know this is scary, but you're incredibly strong. You're bringing new life into the world. That's the most important thing anyone can do." He paused, then added with a slight smile, "Just breathe through it, okay? Everything's going to be fine." The queen's coloration began to shift to warmer hues. and her breathing seemed to steady slightly. "It's working," Silthan whispered excitedly. "The offspring are responding to the bonding catalyst." Marcus continued talking, drawing on every reassuring thing he'd ever heard in movies or real life. He told the Queen about human births, about the joy of new life, about the strength he could see in her. When she seemed to be struggling with a particularly intense contraction, he found himself saying, almost without thinking, "Come on, you've got this. Just focus on my voice. Yes, dear?" The "yes, dear" had slipped out automatically, the kind of thing he might say to calm anyone who was distressed. But the effect was immediate and dramatic. The Queen's entire body relaxed. Her coloration shifted to what Marcus was beginning to recognize as contentment, and suddenly the medical bay was filled with a sound like tiny wind chimes. "The offspring," Silthan exclaimed. "They're emerging." Marcus watched in wonder as dozens of tiny butterfly-like creatures began emerging from the egg chambers, their wings already shimmering with the same color-shifting properties as their mother. They were beautiful, delicate and perfect, and absolutely alien. The Queen turned her massive compound eyes toward Marcus, and somehow he understood her gratitude without words. Then she made a series of soft, clicking sounds. Silthan gasped, her skin flashing rapid patterns of what Marcus was learning to interpret as shock and delight. "What?" Marcus asked. "What did she say?" Silthan turned to him, her expression somehow conveying both amusement and reverence. She said you are to be honored as royal consort protector. The way you spoke to her, the care in your voice. When you said, 'Yes, dear,' our Queen has claimed you as her mate bond." Marcus felt the blood drain from his face. "But I was just being polite. That's just something humans say when—" "The bond is not physical among our people," Silthan interrupted gently. "It is a recognition of someone who will protect and care for the royal offspring. Someone who puts their well-being above his own comfort." She paused, and her skin shifted to what Marcus was beginning to recognize as a smile. "Congratulations, Ambassador. You are now officially the first human to be adopted into Zephyrian royalty." As the implications of this began to sink in, Marcus looked around the medical bay, at the healthy offspring, at the recovering Queen, at Silthan's delighted expression, at the Zephyrian officials beyond the walls who were now prostrating themselves in his direction. He had a feeling his diplomatic report was going to be very interesting to write. The Queen made another series of soft sounds, and Silthan translated, "Her Majesty says she looks forward to learning more about human customs from her new mate bond. She's particularly interested in this phrase, 'Yes, dear,' and its cultural significance." Marcus couldn't help but laugh. "Well," he said, looking at the tiny offspring already beginning to explore their new world, "I suppose there are worse ways to achieve interspecies understanding." As the medical team celebrated around him and the news of successful royal births spread throughout the ship, Marcus realized that sometimes the most profound moments in diplomacy came not from grand gestures or carefully negotiated treaties, but from simple human kindness offered without expectation of reward. He just hoped Earth's diplomatic corps was ready for their first interspecies royal wedding.